Before we start, I want you to think about a number. 600,000 euros per week. That is what Kylian Mbappe earns at Real Madrid. Not per year, per week. Every 7 days, whether he plays or not. Whether he's injured or not. Whether it's Christmas or not. That's 85,000 euros a day. Now, Jordan qualified for the 2026 World Cup. Their entire squad, all 26 players combined, is valued at £16.89 million. Mbappe earns that in 26 weeks. Same tournament, same pitch, same ball. Completely different financial universe. Welcome to the 2026 World Cup salary gap. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never watch a World Cup match the same way again. The biggest number nobody talks about. FIFA is handing out $655 million at this tournament. That's a record. The biggest prize pool in World Cup history. Bigger than the last one. Bigger than the one before that. Now pause. Before I tell you anything else, I need to ask you something. How much of that $655 million do you think goes directly to the players? The answer is zero. Not a single dollar or euro. Not even a single cent from FIFA's $655 million prize pool reaches any of the 1,248 players at this tournament directly. FIFA confirmed this. It's not a secret. It's just not something anyone explains. Here's how it actually works. FIFA gives the money to each country's national football federation. The federation then decides entirely on their own, with no binding obligation from FIFA, how much of that money the players actually see. Some federations are generous, some are not. Some have a documented history of not paying their players at all. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, let's talk about who is actually at this tournament and what the gap between the top and the bottom actually looks like. The top of the pyramid. Let's start at the top, because the top is genuinely extraordinary. Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 years old, at the 2026 World Cup, representing Portugal, and currently earning $200 million a year, approximately, from his Al Nassr contract alone, according to Capology and multiple verified sources. Add his endorsements, Nike, his CR7 brand, his hotels, his social media. Forbes named him the highest paid athlete in the world for 2024, 2025, and 2026. His total package is estimated at around $275 million annually. That is $754,000 every single day. Sleeping, training, playing, flying, it doesn't stop. Now, let's talk about what Ronaldo actually earns from the World Cup itself. FIFA will give the Portuguese Football Federation its share of the $655 million prize pool based on how far Portugal goes. If Portugal wins the whole thing, the federation gets around $51.5 million. If they go out in the group stage, they still get a guaranteed $10.5 million. Does any of that go to Ronaldo directly? No. What Ronaldo earns from the tournament comes from his own federation's internal bonus structure, which is negotiated separately, privately, and is not publicly available. And here's the thing most people don't think about. For Ronaldo, the World Cup match fee from the Portuguese Federation is almost irrelevant to his finances. What the World Cup costs him is something else entirely. FIFA operates what are called clean zones around the tournament. Only official FIFA sponsors brands that have paid FIFA hundreds of millions of dollars for exclusivity can be commercially activated during the World Cup. That means a player like Ronaldo, who has personal sponsorship deals worth tens of millions of dollars a year, cannot promote those personal brands during the tournament. His sponsors' campaigns go dark. Activations are frozen. The commercial machine that generates a huge portion of his annual income gets switched off for approximately 6 weeks. For a player earning at his level, the World Cup is a financial sacrifice. He comes anyway, because at 41, this is almost certainly his last one. And no amount of money in Saudi Arabia gives him the one thing a World Cup winner's medal would. The next generation gap. Now let's talk about the other extraordinary story at the top of the 2026 pyramid. And this one might actually be more remarkable than Ronaldo. Lamine Yamal, 18 years old. Spain's starting right winger, and already one of the highest paid. teenagers in the history of professional football. In May 2025, just before his 18th birthday, Barcelona tied him down to a new contract. Until 2031, according to Capology and The Athletic, his base salary is approximately €320,000 per week. His full package, including bonuses, could reach €40 million net annually. €320,000 a week at 18. To put that in perspective, the average annual salary in Spain, the country he plays for, is around €30,000. Yamal earns that in less than 3 days. Here's where it gets interesting. Spain's federation match bonus for playing at the World Cup is not public. But whatever Yamal earns from his federation for appearing at this tournament, it is a rounding error compared to his weekly Barcelona wage. This is his first ever World Cup. The country he is representing has a real chance of winning it. And yet the tournament itself, financially, is almost incidental to his career. That is what the top of the 2026 World Cup salary pyramid looks like. Players so wealthy that the tournament's entire prize structure barely registers on their personal balance sheet. So what happens when you go to the other end? The other end of the pyramid. Jordan I at the 2026 World Cup. For many of their players and fans, this is one of the greatest moments in their football history. Their entire squad's combined transfer value, according to Transfermarkt, is £16.89 million. That is the lowest of all 48 nations at this tournament. To frame that, Mbappe's verified base salary at Real Madrid is approximately €600,000 a week. Jordan's entire squad value represents less than what Mbappe earns in his base contract in 26 weeks. Now, does that mean Jordan's players are poor? Not necessarily. Some of them play professionally in decent leagues and earn reasonable wages by global standards. But here is what it does mean. When FIFA hands the Jordanian Football Association their guaranteed minimum of $10.5 million from the prize pool, there's no mechanism, no legal requirement, no binding FIFA rule that forces even a single dollar of that to reach any of that 26 players who qualify Jordan for this tournament. What the players actually receive depends entirely on whatever internal bonus agreement the team negotiated with their own federation before they boarded the plane. And Jordan is not an isolated case. It is the rule, not the exception, for the newer and smaller nations. At a 48-team World Cup, this is the first World Cup with 48 teams. That expansion brought in nations that have never been here before. Nations with smaller federations, smaller budgets, smaller administrative structures, and no established model for paying players at a tournament of this scale. The money is there, at the federation level. Whether it reaches the players is another question entirely. The system that makes it possible. Here's what I find genuinely fascinating about all of this. FIFA, the organization running this tournament, has actually acknowledged the problem. Ahead of the 2023 Women's World Cup, FIFA promised every player a guaranteed payment of $30,000, a direct payment to the athletes themselves. Then FIFA President Gianni Infantino was asked live at a press conference whether he could guarantee that federations would actually pass those payments on to players. He said, and I'm going to quote him precisely here, he could not guarantee it. The money goes to the federation. The federation passes it on. FIFA watches and hopes. This is the same structure at the 2026 Men's World Cup. $655 million to federations. No binding mechanism to ensure players receive it. And we already know what can happen when that system fails. In 2014, at the Brazil World Cup, the Nigerian squad refused to train. They were owed money their federation had promised and not paid. The dispute escalated so severely that the Nigerian government flew a private jet to Brazil, reportedly carrying $3 million in cash to pay the players directly in the hotel before a knockout match. That is not a story from 100 years ago. That is 12 years ago. And the structural conditions that made it possible have not fundamentally changed. Now, I am not saying that is going to happen at this tournament. I hope it doesn't. But the point is this. $655 million is flowing through a system where the people who actually play the games have almost no legal protection over how much of it reaches them. The question that stays with you.